Welcome to the episode of the DAT Fitness Business Podcast. Tom Blackman with Dan Smith. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Tom.
And I think we're close to episode 40. I think this might even be episode 40.
That is because I checked. Yeah,
Is it? It's episode 40. Wow. See, and that puts us in the top 5% of podcasts, because most podcasts don't even get past 21 episodes.
Yeah, we're right up there.
Yeah, the top 5% performers.
That's it, mate. And when we get to 50, you'd be higher up.
Yeah. So hopefully more than 3 people will watch the podcast. That'd be even better. Or listen to it even. So today we're talking about our favorite apps. Now this isn't just like, and I know people who fans of the podcast will say, "Oh, but you also did a favorite apps a little while ago." Yes, this is a sort of an update to that. And we're talking about stuff that we've been using recently, which might have changed from the last one. So it's apps that help us be better coaches. So we're not talking about Facebook, Instagram, all those obvious things. It's more the behind the scenes stuff that you never see, which might give you a bit of an insight into how to improve your coaching and how to get a more efficient coaching model and all those other great things that having all these wonderful apps can do. So we've got 3 each. So if this works out the way we want it to do, it will be a couple of minutes on each, and times that by 6, so it'll be about 25 minutes. But it normally never works out that way, does it, mate?
Yeah. Good maths.
Yeah, good maths. Yeah, I got an A at maths at school, GCSE. A D though at A level.
Oh.
So when it counts.
What happened, mate?
I don't think it was a D actually. I think it was like a C or something. But but GCSE maths and A level maths. When you go A level maths, this is what changed. This is like 30 years ago. A level maths, you had pure maths, and then you had an option. So you could do mechanics or you can do statistics. And I did statistics and I got an A at that. But my pure maths was so shocking that it dragged it down. And pure maths is like when you're trying to work out how much a circle in a graph is or some bullshit. You know, when you're trying to calculate a slingshot around the moon to travel back in time, that's the sort of thing pure maths is used for. So it's really applicable to the normal everyday stuff. And our teacher, when he came in, he said, "Oh yeah, my job this year is to make sure that not all of you fail this." I was like, that fills me with confidence, So it was just ridiculously hard stuff, and it was all algebra and X, Y, this and this, that, the other, which I've never used in my entire life since leaving. Apart from maybe to work out, when people share those Facebook things, work out what X is. I'm like, well, I'm a fucking boss at that, so I'll do that. People share, where's the graph, and they put the thing in, work it out. And then I go, yeah, I know that straight away. But that's the only time I've ever used it. But statistics, I was absolute boss at that. And if you want a binomial formula, mate, I'm the guy for that. And statistics is more useful in everyday life, especially stuff we do, predicting trends, that sort of thing. So that insight into my past, more next week. So what we're going to do is talk about our favorite apps. So Dan, do you want to go first or shall I go first? Should we toss a coin?
Yeah, I haven't got one.
Have you got one?
No.
But I don't actually have coins anymore. I got a Post-it note.
You can draw a head on the tail on it.
All right, I'll draw a head on it. Okay, so you got heads. You see that, and then you got there's nothing on that side, so I'll flip. Oh, tails. Who called?
I didn't.
Okay, let's go. Okay, cool.
Tails.
It is tails. Have to just trust me on that. I haven't got a camera pointing down. Okay, you go first.
Right. I'm going to start with the Notes app. Notes on Apple iPhone.
So this isn't a fancy app called Notes. This is the actual free Notes app that you get with Apple phones. Yeah.
Yeah. How about that? Delivering some free value with a free app. Although you have to buy the £1,000 iPhone. So weigh it up.
or £1,000 MacBook Pro or something like that.
Yeah. I've tried multiple apps, notes apps. Evernote is one, isn't it? I tried that one.
Yeah.
People rave about it, which I thought it was okay, but I don't know what it is. It just notes app seems to just, it's nothing fancy, it doesn't do anything sexy. It just works for the way that my brain works. And I think, it's perfect, because the way I use it is to just have different folders for things that come up, and also for the work that I do with people. So everyone's got like individual folders. The cool thing I like, which is probably nothing to do with the app, but the way it can share between like different devices. But then in that app itself, I use the functions in there to group them, flag and pin stuff. So we've got different folders. I can see things straight away, and the ability to search through on like the words, and then it will pull up anything that's ever been created with that. Because I just checked before this, there's like nearly 5,000 notes on there, which is pretty crazy really when I think about it. But I use it every single day without fail. So for me, it's a really important app. So yeah, that's my first one.
Notes for me, I'd agree exactly the same with you. I've tried using Evernote before, and I just was like, it figured to me as if it was more complex than it needed to be. But maybe that's just my simple brain not being able to comprehend how to use it. And I've tried other apps as well, and things for like content creation and stuff like that. I've tried loads of things like that. But honestly, and I've got an app I'm going to talk about as well, which I also use for content creation. But for just like smashing up some ideas, Notes is great. I mean, if I've got like, I don't know how you come to your ideas, but I get a lot of my ideas when I'm training, or I'm driving, or I'm like having a coffee or something like that. When my mind isn't on work, I just go, oh, I should do that. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I used to carry around a pad with me, but that's not always viable. So now I just open my Notes app and just go, put the title in and a little bit of description about what I'm going to talk about, and then close it. And I come back to it later on. And it's really easy to do that. And you can search by hashtags as well. So if you search by topic, you can hashtag stuff.
Yeah.
And search that way, which again, you can just type in the word. But if you want to group them all by the hashtags, you can do that as well, which I find really, really helpful.
Yeah. Started doing that. Started using that more. But yeah, it's got some cool things on it. Just like I say, it makes it easy to find things and generate ideas. So different folders for emails, that like drafts of emails, then emails that get sent, content ideas, actual, when I like the fact that you can create text in it, actually just drop pictures in it, drop images into it, like grab stuff from it. I mean, you can do, you can create like tables on it now as well, like, and have like lines in it, which I think is quite good. But yeah, there's nothing sexy about it. It just works.
No.
Which is cool.
No, I think, and I don't use this, but I think also if you've got an Apple Pencil and you're on your iPad, you can actually write and it will transcribe it into, I'm pretty sure you can do that. Well, no, I've not done it, but I'm pretty sure you can do that.
Yeah.
I see a Notes app, and it's free, which is even better. And you're right about, I write all my emails now. I used to write them in Google Docs, but now I write all my emails in Notes and then just copy and paste them across into my emails thing.
Yeah.
And pretty much the same with my content. If I'm writing a content for say Instagram, I'll write it all out in Notes first, because what I hate about Instagram, you've only got 3 lines. It's like that. So when you're writing a post, and you think, what did I write just now? And you've got to scroll up, and then sometimes you end up posting it by mistake. So it's just like, I'll have all in my Notes app and I'll write it all out and I can see it, and it's easy to just copy and paste it across to Instagram then.
Yeah. Because or sometimes you'll delete it, or Instagram will delete it from the caption. You're like, wow.
That is so annoying. When you spend like, 20 minutes like scrolling back up to see what you've done, and then you come here, you go post. Oh, we can't find your post. Bye.
Yeah.
Close that.
That's definitely where you save it as a draft, but it doesn't save it. You're like, just done that.
I had the other day, it's a brilliant post. It was a brilliant draft. And I still can't find it, but it says it's in my drafts, but it won't load it. And it was a guy, it was on, I can't remember, he was squatting something, and That's what he was. That's what he was doing. Something like pull downs or something. But he had a barbell attached to it. So he said he was like pulling down like 500 kilos or whatever it was. But he had a barbell on the pulley.
Yeah.
He had a barbell through the pulley, right? And he had the stack on maximum, and he had the barbell loaded up with pretty much what was on the stack. And he was pulling it down, and it was like 280 kilos or something. I was like, you're just counterbalancing the weight. You're not actually lifting anything there.
Oh yeah, just thought about that. Yeah.
It's just because it's on the pulley, isn't it? So this guy was seriously thinking he was pulling 280 kilos, but the barbell was across the thing, so it was just counterbalancing it. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, mate,
must feel really easy.
you haven't lifted anything.
Wow, this
felt
really
easy.
Wow, yeah, I just thought that. That's just the same as the people who do those side bends, don't they? But with like a kettlebell or a plate in each hand, and it just can't balance it.
Or they load up a pendulum squat. I got a pendulum squat at my gym. Load up a pendulum squat, so 10 on the working end, and then 10 on the assisted end. It's like, yeah, check me out, massive quads. No, mate.
Nice.
I had a caption idea, and it was about like, clients coming in through 50 cold DMs, and then clients leaving because they're not the right clients. So it was like the hole in the bucket syndrome. People coming in. I think it's called revolving door, the terminology.
Yeah.
So I just sort of thought that's perfect for that. But I saved the video like to repurpose it, and it wouldn't load. I was like, no, and now I can't find it. Really annoying. I have to do my own video and look like a twat in the gym.
Make your own version.
Always worries me when I do those sorts of videos in the gym, because people look at me like, go, he's the gym owner and he's doing that stupid exercise. I might have to have a sign saying, I'm actually filming this for a stupid exercise for Instagram. Don't hate me.
Don't copy me.
Yeah, don't do this thing. I sat in the shoulder press once, and pressed the the work with the handles, you press it. So I sat on the seat with my legs up where you would normally have your back, and pressed the thing for a video, and people walking past like, is he doing that for real? And I was just like, I can't go around it. There's like 20 people, and I thought, I can't go around and tell 20 people it was just a joke. I have to walk out and just hope they never see me.
Love that. And that guy in the gym. Yeah, no, he's all right. Sometimes he's just a bit weird.
Yeah, look at his exercise, but check out his legs. They're massive. I'll do it. Check out his glutes. Wow.
Yeah.
I think we started talking about the notes app.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's your first one then?
So actually, for following on to on the notes side of things, I use an app called Notability, which is a brilliant little app. I think it costs about, so there is a free version, which you can use, and it's got certain things you can use. But if you want to have the things enabled to be able to export it and stuff like that, it's about 10 quid a month. So 10 quid a year, I think. It's not expensive. I might have got that wrong, but it's very low price for what it is. And Notability is what I use on all my videos. So if you see my videos where I have like a presentation and I write all over it on the video, that's what I use for that. So it allows you to load in a PDF that you've created, or a picture or whatever else. You can load it in, and then what I do is I share my screen onto I normally use OBS when I'm recording, that sort of stuff, and I share my screen there. And you can write on the iPad, but it looks as though you're writing on the presentation. And it's a brilliant little app for that, because when you're doing like presentations, or when you're doing, say, group calls and stuff like that, you can make notes live while you're doing it. And it just looks a bit more authentic. I think it feels anyway, a bit more authentic than just writing, so typing it out, Yeah. Especially if I'm doing stuff like models and stuff like that. So I'm sure like you've got a triangle model or circle model or whatever else, and you're writing in the bits. Really cool little app. But I also use it if I'm doing a call with a client. I will normally have my screen shared, And
Yeah.
while I'm talking with the client, I'll be writing the notes as we go. And then, so the client, so if I want to illustrate something like, oh, this is what we need to do here to move to here, to move to here, it's a lot easier to do that in front of them. Like if you got, if you got like a whiteboard or something like that, if you were with someone in person. So it works really well for that. And the cool thing is you can, when you write stuff, if you put it in the wrong place, you can actually circle it and move it around and stuff like that. So it is really, really flexible what you can do. And you can then export it into PDF. So every time I finish with a client, I'll export the notes to a PDF and I'll send them the PDF so that they can go through the notes afterwards if there's anything that they need to do. And I have one note per client. So every time we have an appointment, it's the next date, and so we can see how they progressed over time.
Yeah, I get that.
Really cool little app. You can do coloring and all that sort of stuff. You can bring in pictures. You can do all these different things. Really flexible, and it's helped me on coaching calls massively. It's helped me on my content to be able to present content which is different to everybody else, what they do. And yeah, it's just a nice little app, which is, again, I think it's about 10 quid, 12 quid a year. It's not expensive for what you get from it. And like all iPhone stuff, it links in across your phone, across your MacBook and all that other stuff. So if you wanted to look at a note that you've taken, you can very easily.
Yeah, I looked at it in the past. I remember you telling me about it. I looked at that. I think I use Procreate, which sounds similar.
Probably, yeah. There's lots of different apps that do the same sort of stuff.
But I don't use it as much as you do, I don't think. And then because I use the notes like similar to, like, I have just one note and then it just carries on, like in terms of what we've been talking about. So yeah,
and obviously with notes, you can share the notes to people as well, can't you? You can share active notes, and with Notability, if your client or whatever has got the Notability app, you can actually collaborate on it.
Nice.
So yeah, it is pretty cool. And the stuff you can do is pretty cool on it. But it is definitely an iPad app, which because obviously you write on it. It's definitely one of those. You can type as well if you want to, or do text, or do writing to text, that sort of thing. But it's just a cool little app that I've used, and I continue to use, and it's been very. What I found it really useful for is if I'm sort of brainstorming stuff. So if I've got a new concept that I'm creating, like just recently for my launch campaign, I developed the star system. So I wrote it out on the iPad and just, that's not right. Move that. Because normally I use a whiteboard, which my whiteboard is just over here. But the problem with using a whiteboard is if you put something in the wrong place, you then got to rub it out and then move it. And with the app, you can actually, it's like a whiteboard. You go, actually, that should be over there. That should be over there. So it translates very well, and you get the same brain-hand connection that you do with a whiteboard because you're writing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really cool app, mate. It's for coaching calls and for, like, if you're doing live calls like webinars, it's brilliant. Because what's the worst thing about a webinar? Fucking PowerPoint City, isn't it?
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. But if you've got things coming up which are blank and you're writing on them, and you can ask for audience participation and say, right, we've got this here, what goes here, this here, what goes here, and you can ask for participation on the chat to get people engaged with your with your meeting. So it helps with consumer engagement as well.
Good work.
Yeah, nice. I like that. Okay, yours next.
Slack. Use Slack. Use Slack every day. You can get an app for your phone, or you can get this desktop app. It's basically how we run our mentoring, to be fair. That's the communication hub. It's where all of the channels are for individual channels for coaches. So that's where we share a lot of information through. I can't remember Slack. They tagged, I don't know if it's the same, they use the same tagline, but if it's still the same, it was something like email. They liken themselves to email, but like the communication for email or something like that. But
two-way email. Well, email is two-way, isn't it? I suppose
it's great because it's just easy as a communication channel. It's brilliant. it allows you to have, like I say, channels for individuals, and then you can have like group channels. So you could set up shared channels for specific things. And then you can have private channels in there as well if you want to set up other stuff, and you can like invite people to those channels, have multiple people in it. So it works well for if you want to collaborate with coaches on certain things, or like as a group of you. So we have like other experts who work in there, so like copywriters. So we can have a copy channel that they can directly add stuff to get feedback on, and it's kind of like live feedback. So I can see it all. So I can see like keep a note on what's going on in the channels. You get notified of those. The best thing about it for me is being able to have like everything in one place, make it really easy. So I get freaked out about having stuff that is not like easy for people to use. And I think Slack is like, I can't fault it in terms of how easy it is to communicate through. I think it can get confusing. Sometimes people might come in and they're like, oh my God, I've never used this before. But I think that's like any platform if you've never seen it, it can feel a bit crazy. We just added, because you can add stuff to Slack. So you can add like third party things or tools into it. So you can add like Canva, and it will just draw your stuff directly from Canva. So you can drop links in it, or just give you a preview, or Google Drive or whatever. But recently we found this tool. It's an AI tool, and I'm able to link it with my Slack. So what we've done is that tool itself draws all of the resources from our dashboard. So in our dashboard now, we've got over 200 pieces of information. So what I've done is linked it with those. This tool takes all the information, and there's a channel in Slack now where you go into it. It's called the Oracle. You go in and you like tag this thing, you ask it a question. It's like, give me all your stuff on email marketing, and it'll go, and it goes away. And it's little like, I like the little emojis that pop up, these little eyes come up. And then eventually it pulls out and it replies to your comment with all the stuff from the data it's got. It's freaking awesome. And it gives you like the top 5. So it'll give you like 5 points, and then it lists all of the sources in links. It blew my mind. And I genuinely like, well, I talk about this to people sometimes in there, and I'm like, I'm really excited about this. And some people are like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, no, this is freaking cool. Some people just it's not that interesting. I'm like, that's cool. Because now I can have a tab open on my desktop, and I've got a little Chrome extension for this software, and I go add to the Oracle, and it will go, that's in there. So anything, I can just put it into that, and then people can search off it. So I don't know, freaking mega that.
So is this like articles you find on the web or articles you've written?
So it's used for all our information at the moment. So just all of our trainings, live calls that we do every week, documents, templates, anything we've done, it's all in there.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then, but you can use it for other stuff. So I could find a web page and add it to it, but I want it to be specific to our stuff at the moment. Yeah. It's a beta test like app at the moment. So it's freaking, I like it.
Yeah. So that's 2 apps then, isn't it? That's the Oracle and Slack.
Yeah. So I kind of cheated, but they work together.
The I sort of Slack reminds me of do you remember the like bodybuilding forums years ago? Don't know if you're old enough to remember that. Yeah. How old are you?
39.
39. Oh, okay. So I had this image of you being like 33 or something, and just had a hard life. But yeah, the bodybuilding forums were sort of segmented like how Slack is. I suppose you could have like certain topics and certain areas. Am I right in thinking, because I've used Slack before, but it's not something I'm a massive user of, and certainly not at the moment. I used to use it more for the group stuff. But in Slack you can have like private chats, which only like 2 people can, like only people you name can go to them. Is that correct?
Yeah. Set up like private chat. So you can have locked channels, and then you can have the ones that are open, anyone can join. You can schedule a lot of stuff in it. So our assistant is in there, and she'll schedule all the reminders for certain channels. So she'll go in and
nice.
It's really good for that.
Yeah.
We used it actually recently with one of the coaches we work with. He has ADHD. So in terms of when we plan things out, I work differently with him. So what we did was in Slack, set all these reminders, because if I put them onto a spreadsheet, it doesn't work. So what I've done is in Slack, we set all of the dates and the times and what the reminder was. Literally, there was about, I don't know, 15.
Mm.
And then it just from the start, just these were pinging out. Because he was like, that will work for me. So I thought, oh, cool. We'll just use Slack. Quite cool.
And Slack has a paid option. Do you use the paid option?
I don't. I've trialed
That's
it.
incredible that you got all that value from the free version.
Yeah, I have used the paid, but when they give you a trial, occasionally they'll just put you on it to try and tempt you in. The only downside to not having a paid is the information that gets lost. So after a certain period of time, you can't scroll back. But then, all our information is kept separate to that anyway. So that might be a nice thing to have. In terms of cost, though, it does work out to be, when you have a lot of people in Slack, it can be quite pricey.
Yeah. I've noticed that in Trello. If you have like team members, it gets pricey really fast.
Yeah, it's for us at the moment. It would be. I looked at it the other day. Every so often I look, and it's 570 quid a month to have it. Yeah,
That is. Well, you only have to sell one coaching package for that, don't you? As in like 997. You sell one, and you get like 2 months.
Yeah. I mean, I probably will at some point do it, because I think having that functionality is good. There's some more stuff you get as well, but yeah, it's just weighing up. Do you need it really at the moment?
I suppose if you have got if you've got all your articles and stuff saved at another place, then you only need to put on the Slack conversation like email marketing, click here, and it takes you to wherever it is.
Yeah.
It's, you could like put it in a Google Drive or something like that, couldn't you, and have all the stuff listed
That's
out.
basically what we do with all that stuff's hosted in another platform. So the channel, the Oracle, just finds it.
Excellent. Cool. Okay, so Slack, a good one, and free as well. So so 2 free ones for you. Notability, small cost, but there is a free option if you're just using it for the basic stuff. Okay, so so sort of like Slack stuff. I quite like Trello, which people will probably know what Trello is. If you don't, it's just a way of organizing, say, data, tasks, and the way Trello is set up, you have boards, and when you go into boards, you have cards. So you got to think about it like a pin board. So you have different pin boards, say, around your office, and then you have your cards, which are like, say, topics, and you can post items in those cards. I've used Trello for years. I use just the free version. I did look at the cost, the purchase one, because I have a few like assistants who help me, and I looked at adding them, but there was no need to for the functionality and stuff like that. I don't need to do that, and it does get quite pricey quite quickly. But mainly, I use Trello for managing the tools for coaches business that I run, which is the diet plans, the white label diet plans for people. What I found with Trello, it's very, very easy to set up tasks. So say if when one of their customers completes a diet, like form, we've got it set up through Zapier so that form comes straight and goes to an allocated card, and it pops up, and then my assistant can then create the information I need to then do the plan. And actually, it all links in quite nicely with Google Sheets and stuff like that. But it was the best app that I found to manage all that. So, and especially if you've got like, say, 10 diets coming in per day, and you've got all this stuff coming in, it's a massive task to go through and automate all that stuff. So it comes through as this is what's happened, and then this task needs to be done. So it does help me manage things like that. Like basically puts it onto my to-do list. The other thing I've found Trello really good for is content creation, as in managing your content creation. So when I was doing nutrition, I do this as well for the business stuff. When I was doing nutrition, obviously there'd be loads of topics, and the way I would organize my content would be, well, I'd have a topic, and then you get a little box for a description, and then you can make checklists within that card. So say we had a card for, say, calorie deficit, for example. You'd have calorie deficit, a bit of the description, talking about it, whatever, and you could have a checklist, and the checklists were where I'd posted it. So because, I know we talked about this in another podcast, if you create a piece of content, that can be repurposed out, can't it? So any topic can be a video, can be a long video for YouTube, can be a mini book, like a carousel. It can be a Twitter post. It can be just a single image with content underneath. And the problem a lot of people find with creating content is that they think of one thing, and then the next day, I've got to think of another thing. And the next day, I've got to think of another thing. So they're always confusing themselves with, oh, what am I going to talk about today? I've already talked about that thing. I can't talk about that thing again. But if you have one piece of content, which then goes out to, it can be a reel, it can be a caption, it can be this, it can be this. There's a couple of things alone you can post just to Instagram, which will be the same content, but from different angles. And it gives you basically, I think 3 or 4 bits of content you can post across, weeks or whatever. And I used to use that for helping me remember what I'd done. And also if I was thinking one day, oh, what can I post? I can go back to the stuff that I've looked at before. And if I haven't done like a picture with a caption, I can do that for that piece of content. And all the stuff's there already because you can link to things like Google Drive and Google Docs and stuff like you can just put the links in there and it just pops up. So very, very good for managing content creation. And I've not found an app that manages it as well as that. And Notes is good. And you can have checklists now in Notes as well. And I have been using that. And eventually I might transfer over to that. But yeah, Trello I found very good for that. And obviously for managing the other business that I do as well. And I'm not, what have you used Trello before?
Yeah, I was going to say we used it for our content creation process. And then our assistants still use it for our like team stuff. So when we have our team meetings, all the notes, everything gets uploaded to Trello, and if there's any action points, they get assigned to whoever. So it does get used, but the content creation process, like you mentioned, when we worked with Craig, the designer, it was like you had the different cards and the different columns. I don't know which one. And then it was like, right, so that part's done, and then move it to here.
Yeah.
And then who'd get a notification. And then it's like, cool, you move it to here when it's like, just do the final checks or whatever. So that I can see how it works. Well, we used to do that. So it was quite good.
I think the good thing about Trello is the visual side of it, because like you said, you've got different columns. So you can have cards in different, say, headers. So say if you were like, so for content creation, I used to have ideas, and that would just be a long list of ideas I'd had.
Yeah.
Then I'd have like YouTube, Instagram, blah, blah, whatever. So as you created the content, you would move it across so that once you got to the end, all those things have been done. And then you can archive it, whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah.
It's also very good for process stuff. So if you've got a client and you're onboarding them, then it's very good for like client, move to here because that bit's done, move to here, that's bit's done. And also potentially tracking their progress. So, I mean, I'm not sure how you run your coaching, but when I'm working with clients, there's things that they need to get set up if they haven't got them set up in order to make them an efficient business.
Yeah.
So we move them across as we go to make sure we have covered all those things and those things are in place. Because some things you can't do before doing something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can see it being useful for that. Well, I kind of do that with Slack at the moment, but
yeah,
it doesn't work in that way. It's more like that way.
Yeah, I like the visual representation of it. So if I open my computer, I can see where people are and what the next thing for them to do is. It works quite well for that.
Nice, man. Good.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, next one. And Trello's free. You can pay for it. I wouldn't recommend it. The only benefit to paying would be you get more than 10 boards. I've not needed more than 10 boards in 4 years.
Yeah.
So you don't need it.
Nice.
Okay. Your third one.
I'm going for the Ask AI app.
Ask AI. Okay.
That's the one. Yeah.
It's like Ask Jeeves, but a robot.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I use AI on the desktop quite a lot. So it's a common feature on my desktop now. But then on my phone, I don't really have anything. And I found the Ask AI app and I started to use it because it's it's easy to have on your phone. We just mentioned, like, if you have ideas or you see something and you think, right, I want to explore that a little bit more, or you just want to find something out, and I'm going into it and asking it. The cool thing with this app, especially, is you can upload a link to a document or a video or a podcast or whatever, and then you can just say, "Can you just summarize this?" And it will go and it will do that like there and then. I know there's apps, there's desktop things that can do that, but to have it like in your phone is pretty cool. And then everything gets saved. So all of the history that I've got, I just go back, and I kind of using it a little bit like I use my notes now, in terms of, right, I've just put in there like a thing that I need to remember. And then what I do is sometimes just transfer that over to the notes anyway. But it's it's pretty decent, to be fair. They call them like elite tools. So you can upload and ask anything about a document, link to anything and ask, summarize a web page, summarize an article. It's quite cool. But yeah, that's my my little AI.
Nice. I'll have a look at that one. Ask AI. So I've got ChatGPT. I know you've got ChatGPT. But the annoying thing I find is that, say, our podcast that we do, I will upload all the transcript from the podcast into ChatGPT to help to create further content, such as like summaries or what we talked about, that sort of thing. Because obviously, I know everything we talk about is absolute like knowledge bombs, but there was a little bit of filler stuff in between. So rather than re-watch back 45 minutes of me and you talking, I ask it to summarize the main points.
Yeah.
The annoying thing with that is that I have to do it in 3 stages, because there's too much text on the transcript to load into one thing on ChatGPT, even with the paid version, which is annoying. So I have to do it in 3 stages. But that would be good if you could just say create a Google Docs and then just link it and say summarize this.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. And it gives you, like, it's got a suggestions bit where you can go, or it's got a business and marketing suggestion, and you can have like SEO generator, slide presentation, create a professional business plan. And it'll give you all the prompts. So what it does is it will give you the thing, and then you can ask it. Then you just, what the reply is, you can then send it. It's quite cool, because I think a lot of the time when you use AI, it's the prompts that people struggle with.
100% is the prompts. You know, I've seen some absolute shocking captions on Instagram and stuff, which have been generated by AI, and it's just, join me as I divulge my information, and like,
you can see it,
like that, mate.
Loads of emojis as well.
Yeah. Find the secrets of how I make my cup of coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Always American as well. Always.
Yeah. Hey y'all, find out these secrets. Cool. So Ask AI sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Okay. Final one for me, Dan. How are you for time? It's
I can do the final one.
Cool. Okay. So so the final one for me is Descript, and I might have talked about this before, but Descript has had a massive influx of, I think, cash into it, or it's been very successful, and it has grown its product massively. Now, I started using it about 2 years ago, and it was decent then. But what they've done recently is to really smash out the AI side of things, but also link it into other apps. Descript, if you don't know, is it's sort of like video editing, but where all the stuff's done for you quite nicely. So, because I used to edit a lot of my stuff in Final Cut Pro, but that can be a little bit fiddly. Descript is, I think, more user friendly, and what you do is you upload a video into it, and it transcribes automatically all the captions. So you load the video's on the right hand side, and then on the left pops down all the words that have been said in the podcast or the video, or whatever else. The cool thing about Descript, which I've not found in other apps, is that you can go in and, so say for example, we said something like, we were talking about something, and then in the middle there was a little bit of like a blurb, and then there's something important afterwards. You can, if you're in Final Cut Pro, you can obviously trim that out, but sometimes it can be very choppy, and like that sort of jump in. With Descript, you can go into the script rather than editing the timeline. You can go into the script, and so someone said blah 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 blah, and you don't want that in there. You just go highlight that text, delete, and it'll actually delete the video out, which has those words in. So then the video flows seamlessly.
Nice.
Yeah. And I've used it for clips of this podcast, for my own videos, everything else. And this is really cool because what they've done recently is updated the recording element. So I record a lot of my videos while I'm just stood here talking to the camera. I record those now straight into Descript, and I just talk for about 2 minutes. And I've talked about this technique before, where you just get a bullet point and just talk for 2 minutes on it. So you talk for 2 minutes, and then you go in, but 2 minutes is too long for Instagram. All you have to do is go into and it loads straight away the transcript into the video. And then all you do is go, right, don't want that, clip. And then you've got a minute's worth of content, which is perfect for what you want to say on the video.
Yeah. So it will just edit that out for you.
Yeah. So basically you just highlight the text, delete, and it deletes the video and the text. So sometimes it's not quite right, but you can fiddle about with that. But I would say 99% of the time, the words that you don't want, when they're clipped out, it flows seamlessly, and it looks really, really good.
Does it's not that one. It does. There's one that does stuff automatically now, isn't there? It will just cut bits out. You do
that's called Opus AI, and that's quite a decent one. So Opus AI as well, you can load like a YouTube video link into it, and it will take out 3 to 4 highlighted bits and add the captions and all the emojis and stuff like that, and give you some text. So Descript doesn't do that. So that's Opus AI, but and I've used that before, and it's nearly there, but it's not 100%. So yes, and with Descript, the cool thing is as well, you if you've got time, you can spend like 30 minutes recording your voice. It gives you a script to read. You just read it for say 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. The more you record, the better this function is. So you can record it, and then I could just type out a post and then say, create my voice. And it would just create, what you've written, it would create your voice. Nice. Without you having to talk to it. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Does it sound like you, or does it sound like
it does sound like you?
Generated version.
If you listen back to it a few times, it would you'd pick up on things. But anything, unless you're really scrutinizing it, anything like that would be dismissed as editing issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. So say if you wanted to record like a voiceover for a video, and you didn't have time to record it, you could just type in what you wanted to say. And the cool thing is, if you've got the video on the right side, you can type the text as the scenes come up. Yeah. And you can type, I haven't done this yet because it's not necessary for my content, but I know you can do this. And the other cool thing about doing that is that, say you're talking and I say, calorie deficit, when I mean to say calorie surplus, you can actually take out deficit, write in surplus, and go, say in my voice. And although my lips will go deficit, it will say surplus.
That's cool.
Cool. So if you get the wrong, if you spend like an hour recording something and like the key thing in the middle is wrong, you're like, I'm going to do that again. You can just take it out, just edit it.
Nice.
Yeah.
It doesn't end up like some kind of dubbed Hong Kong film, karate film.
I've come and do it. But yeah, it's a really cool piece of software, and it's not. There is a free version, but it's very basic. But to get all those cool features, I think it's about 20 quid a month, and I use it at least 10, 15 times a week for creating reels and stuff like that. I edit the podcast on it. I get the podcast and edit it to audio, all that sort of stuff. And if you want to, you can actually edit it into. You can save as like a Final Cut Pro or Premiere Pro file. So you can take the editing and then put it into those if you wanted to refine it even more. So there's a lot of coolness on it.
Yeah.
Oh, and I forgot to mention the critical thing. You can add all the things like the jump cuts into GIFs and pictures and all that sort of stuff. So when you see a video and it jumps into a picture, all that stuff can be edited straight in using Descript. And I find that's a lot quicker to do it in Descript than it is in Final Cut Pro. It's very easy to create a scene and then change the image. So you take out like us talking, take that out, put in something else, and then it's just really, really easy to do it. So I can get 3 or 4 reels edited and captioned and with a progress bar and all that little stuff done within about half hour to 45 minutes. Really, really fast.
Nice. Yeah, I've got it. I think we talked about this before, and I haven't used it. So, but I need to use it now because someone's asked me for some transcripts of some podcasts I've done. So, I'm just going to use it for that. And then I'll get
Transcript's
stuck in.
easy. Yeah, you just load the podcast in. It creates a transcript. And you just export it to a Google Doc. Super easy.
Nice.
The other cool thing is there's a little magic button. You can press that and it will highlight all the fillers like yeah, etc. It'll highlight all those. And as you go through, you just go remove, 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 remove. And it takes it out, but it flows seamlessly because you only say to fill in between words you're saying to give your brain time to think. So if you take those out, the sentence actually flows nicely.
Yeah.
So it makes your videos sound a lot, well, authentic 'cause it is you, but without the fillers and the and that sort of thing.
Nice. I'm going to try
really,
it.
really cool. And for 20 quid a month as well, it's, and I was going to talk about the fact that it links into an app called Squadcast, so you can record podcasts. And that we were going to do that today, but I couldn't get it to work. So we haven't used it today.
So one day we'll come and review.
One day. Yeah, one day. So you can record podcasts through it and then have high definition videos. But when I get that to work, you'll know. So yeah, that's my 3, mate.
That's it. I've done mine.
Cool. Excellent. So yeah, nice bit of value then. 6 things for you to check out if you're watching and or listening. And I will put obviously we don't need a link for Notes or Slack. I think everyone knows those ones, but I'll put some links in for the other things in the description on the video.
Yeah.
Cool. Dan, thanks for your time today. Sorry we overran a little bit.
That's fine. I've got to go and get some lunch now.
And get some lunch as well. Excellent. And maybe some sleep between feedings. Not your feedings.
Nature.
Little feedings.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Right. I'll see you next week on the podcast. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Laters.